Hey gang, welcome back to the channel. My name's Nicky V. I'm a studio musician and producer here in Nashville. So I play guitar on people's records and get here on YouTube and do some guitar subjects occasionally. And I'm going to do a pretty groundbreaking one today, the pentatonic scale on guitar, right? But I'm going to try to give you guys a slightly different take on it, a different way of looking at it that I don't think is typically taught. And I know a lot of you guys have seen, like the pentatonic equator video and, the typical breaking out of your boxes. And there's more than one way to do this, but one thing that I haven't seen taught before is pentatonic string sets. And I kind of stumbled across this idea when I was teaching my student Rick, and I thought I'd share it with you guys as well, because as soon as I kind of was like, that's an interesting way of looking at it, and it's another way of breaking out of our typical boxes we're used to playing in. A lot of you guys have been playing in the same, 2 or 3 spots for the last 20, 30 years. And it's time to break out of that. And there's more than one way to do that, but this is one more to add to your arsenal, right? Because the more ways you can look at something to solve a problem, it's better to have all those tools at your disposal. And I'd say this lesson's kind of geared towards the advanced intermediate players, whatever that means. But you really have to know, to get anything out of this, you're going to have to really know all 5 positions of the pentatonic scale really well across the neck. It's not super easy to visualize what I'm getting ready to do, but I'm going to break it down the best I can for you guys. But if you're interested in this and kind of being able to play freely across the neck in any key anywhere, check out my course, Nicky V's Fretboard Mechanics. I'll put a link down in the description for that. But it's basically a system for organizing the guitar neck. There's no licks, no tab, none of the flashy, easy sales stuff you see here on YouTube a lot. It's if you're serious about wanting to really learn this instrument and get this fretboard down, it kind of gives you a roadmap for it. And so you should be able to put your hand down on the guitar neck in any key, basically, and you be, okay, play an A minor, and I switch to D minor. And just kind of be able to know which notes to adjust, and okay, go to the G major. And just fall out of your fingertips. That way you can express yourself freely on the instrument. So enough of the sales pitch, but if you're tired of playing the same thing for the last 20 years, check out that link. So let's get into it. So this is a little bit difficult to visualize, but once you have all 5 of these pentatonic scales really down, I'm just gonna do E minor for now. You get all these positions where they're pretty effortless and second nature, where you can visualize them pretty solid. Once you know all 5 of those, I want you to try to visualize all 5 of them at the same time. Now, that's a big ask, but basically viewing this whole neck as one big pentatonic template that you're getting ready to operate within. Now what I want you to do is I want you to take all 5 of those you're kind of visualizing, and I want you to take a knife and slice them into 4 different sections this way. And what this starts to do is it starts to help develop our X and Y axis. And if you have an X and Y axis, you can navigate diagonally any direction you want, up, down, you have freedom on the neck. And most people typically neglect navigating this way, horizontally across the fretboard. Here's a great exercise. Like I said, we're going to take a knife and divide all of these this way. We're going to slice them up into 4 different string sets of 3. So a string set would be E, A, and D, then A, D, and G, and then D, G, and D, and then G, B, and E. So basically these 3, these 3, these 3, and these 3. So now what we're going to do is we're going to play each one of these 5 positions, but only on 3 strings at a time. So we're going to be in E minor. I'm just going to, so that's our first one, right? And we stop right there on the before we get to the G string. Then we go to our next one. Okay, then we go to our next one. Then our next one. Then our next one. Then we're back where we started. Okay, now once you can kind of see that, now start transitioning between them. And there's no specific pattern I'm playing with that. I'm just kind of trying to navigate creatively or kind of loosely between all those different positions right there. And as you can see, this is, if you'd spend 5 minutes doing that just on that lower string set, which is a string set everybody neglects. Everybody rips on these high strings all the time, but this kind of meaty sound down here on this E, A, and D string is very musical. And it's nice to generate that much power, right? Whenever you're sitting there just playing a line by yourself or noodling on the couch. So it's great to have. No, don't neglect those. It's kind of nice to have that. That's cool. And it's not things that you typically hear guitar players playing. So this could be a tool to help you kind of develop your own voice on the instrument, right? It's nice to have that. Once you get that string set down, let's move on down to the A, D, and G string set now. And so we go to our first position right here. Then we go to our next one up. Next one up. Next one up. Next. Back where we started. And that was on the A, D, and G string. Then we're going to start to kind of navigate like I did. We're going to just kind of... right? And we're just kind of noodling around finding those things and then descend with them too. This kind of stuff. And then we go to our next string set, right? Because a thing I mentioned in a video earlier is things that can be done to a state of completion. Let's do them to a state of completion. If it cannot be done to a state of completion, put a time limit on it and do it consistently, and that's where the gains are made. I preach that all the time here on the channel. This is something you can actually do to a state of completion. You can really cover every position on all 4 string sets. So let's do that. It's one of the D string, G string, and B string. And so you can ascend and descend them. Then go to your next one. And your next one. On this particular string set, there's a lot of very expressive things that fall great under the hand. This kind of... It's very vocal. Just the nature of the G string with the contrast of the wound D string and then the B string being a little more snappy on top. It's a great string set to try to get a lot of expression out of your guitar right there, so don't neglect that one either. Then we get to the string set you guys are most familiar with up here on the highest 3 strings. And then descend them, like I said, to a state of completion. So, and then start to make music with them, right? So step 1 would be simply getting this under your hand and being able to visualize the relationship to those root notes and all the different interval spacings and how it's all connected, moving this way on the neck rather than this way on the neck. And do that for all 4 string sets. Don't skimp on the low ones, I'm telling you, because then it's pointless, right? The whole point of this is being able to play freely anywhere on the neck. Put the work in, and then once you kind of get them to where you can kind of navigate them with a relative degree of ease, start trying to actually make some music with it. Put on a backing track or set some kind of looper up with a simple groove, something like this, maybe like and to start trying to phrase and make some music within that framework that we just worked out. And do it for all 4 string sets, guys. I can't stress that enough. Like, don't skimp on it, put the work in. Develop that X and Y axis so you can navigate any direction you want on the fretboard within the pentatonic framework. And it's very hard to make music with something unless it is drilled into your muscle memory and subconscious. And so this is where the repetition over time, if you want to get good at this, you're not going to get it sitting down for 3 hours on some epic binge on pentatonics. It's going to happen doing it 15 minutes a day over the next 6 months, this type of work. And if you've been playing the same boxes for the last 20 years, it's really time to simply put the work in. It's very doable. I can promise you everybody has solved bigger problems in their life than breaking out of 2 positions of a pentatonic scale. So there's only 3 more. It's a solvable problem. And if you need any help with that, like I said, hit that link down in the description to Nicky V's Fretboard Mechanics. The feedback so far on the course has been overwhelmingly incredibly positive. Thank you guys for all the kind emails you've been sending about it. It really means a lot. And in the course, I cover a few different ways of breaking out of those positions as well. This is just another look at it. So I'm posting these videos here on YouTube to kind of act as supplemental material for the course and hopefully pull some more people in along the way. So for you guys that have bought the course, once you kind of get those pentatonic scales all down, add this to the arsenal of ways to break out of each of those positions. I cover, a few other methods in the course, but I think this would be a good one for you guys to try to add to it as well. If you guys have any questions, please put them down in the comments. I do my best to respond to everybody. And if you haven't already done so, please hit that subscribe button. It definitely helps grow the channel, trying to reach as many people as I can with this stuff. Thank you guys. Appreciate you.